In the United States, for example, we think mobility and engagement will gradually improve between now and June. And we think we'll see substantial improvements in mobility engagement in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So because of that, at the Dallas Fed, our GDP estimate for the United States for 2021 shows growth at 5%. And I would say if we're wrong, the risks are to the upside, that we may grow faster. We think some of that growth will be back-end loaded toward the end of the year as mobility and engagement improves. We think the unemployment rate will continue to meaningfully decline, and we'll see some firming in inflation. 2020 was a year of a supply shock and a demand shock, excess inventory as a residual throughout the entire year. We still got it today. And we've seen restructurings, failures, consolidations in the entire oil sector. And so the oil sector today looks different than it did a year ago. It's more consolidated, it's more disciplined. There's been an effort where possible to deleverage, and capital has not flowed in to the industry. It's flowed into energy broadly in terms of alternatives, but capital, the industry is capital starved. And as a result of that, most producers have told their shareholders that to the extent we have higher prices, they're going to return a meaningfully higher percentage of that cash flow to shareholders instead of in new drilling, as unlike what they've done in the past. And so because of that, we think U.S. production will basically stay flat in 2021. And that assumes, yes, prices continue to firm. They are spending substantial amounts of money on sequestration. And I mean substantial. And they're doing that because they're trying to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions footprint. I think that's indicative of a range of activities you're going to see across the whole sector, where they're going to put more capital in to limiting their greenhouse gas emissions. While this is going on, they can also tell you they're not able to attract capital. It's very challenging to attract capital into the sector. And yes, shareholders are being much more insistent that to the extent we get firming in oil prices, a higher percentage of that cash flow. It's not like some of that cash flow won't go in to new drilling, but it'll be a smaller percentage than it was before. In the past, the industry would have borrowed money and attracted capital to fund new drilling. They're going to have to, it may change what I'm about to say, but for now, they're having to depend almost exclusively on cash flow to fund drilling, not sources of new capital. And as we just said, they're going to have to be more disciplined with their cash flow. So what's the impact going to be? I think one of it's unpredictable, and why it's unpredictable, whether we'll get back to 12.8, 12.9, 13 million barrels a day. You're going to have a big jump in demand. There's an issue about what will OPEC do, OPEC plus Russia, you know, what will happen with other sources of supply around the world. But I think it's fair to say right now, this is the mindset. I've learned, I'm a business person, and my career is as a business person. I learned as a business person, sometimes if prices get high enough, mindsets can change. But for now, to get back to 13 million barrels a day, yes, you would need a change in mindset.